Under my mother's bathroom cupboard, there is a small container of bleach cream. She applies it even if she hates its colonial background, its dehumanizing qualities, and its hazardous chemicals. Despite being a liberal mother who cares for the equality of all races, she still uses her face as a canvas to bleach beauty, to be whiter. I, too, want to be dyed American, while still aspiring to be like the tall, long-necked, almond-shaped-eyed Pakistani models I would see on TV. I didn't know that I couldn't get the best of both worlds. Now, my parents are first-generation immigrants. And like most first-generation immigrants, that means that they brought a big, fat treasure box full of traditions, cultures, and perceptions. Now, me being a second-generation immigrant, I found myself in the middle of two colliding cultures. While I spent half my time trying to appear more Pakistani, I spent the other half trying to appear more American. Soon, I forgot who I even was, which leads me to my central concern, that the dual standards of beauty pressure both women and men into an identity crisis. First, we'll look at some causes, then we will examine the implications, and finally, we'll discuss some possible solutions. So first, the causes. Now, Pakistan is one of the most culturally diverse countries in the whole entire world. Its ethnic communities consist of Punjabi, Balochi, Sindhi, Kashmiri, and the ancient Baruchi tribes in the north. Yet, it is still a country aspiring to be one color, white. Now, growing up in a Pakistani household, I was constantly exposed to Pakistani dramas, TV shows, and commercials. And one of the most influential commercials I'd ever seen are those of Fair and Lovely. Now, these commercials hold an incredibly bold narrative, but portraying the disadvantages to having dark skin. In the beginning, the woman is always sad, lonely, depressed, and has an incredibly low self-esteem. She was always comparing her body tone to her friends until she gets her hands on a tube of Fair and Lovely. Suddenly, her life takes a drastic turn for the best when she realizes that now with lighter skin, she suddenly has self-worth, happiness, and success. Now, according to Iman Majed, writer of Patheos, products like Fair and Lovely don't sell without a market for them. In fact, Pakistani pop culture thrives and feeds on the discrimination between the two races. We can see this through various dramas such as Kalmuhi and Humsafar. In Kalmuhi, the main character is treated ruthlessly by her parents, depicted as sad, lonely, desperate, but most of all, as unmarried and undesirable. Now, in Humsafar, the three main leads are fair, and therefore their social status is portrayed to be elevated. But Pakistan's perception of beauty delves much deeper than this. In fact, Aishwarya Rai, one of the most beautiful women in Bollywood, starred in a hair campaign that introduced a product that can make darker hair lighter. But Pakistan is not the only country obsessed with skin shades and hair color. The United States is one of the largest contributors to the Miss America beauty pageant. Now, the Miss America beauty pageant is an interesting indicator of the societal expectations of beauty and femininity in the United States. Throughout the years, Miss America has created a social expectation of beauty to be related with having blonde hair and blue eyes. And many Miss America winners had followed this social standard until 2014. Now, Nina Devalari was the first Indian to be awarded Miss America. However, her fame did not last long. Soon, people started commenting on her ethnicity and her skin color. They said things like, "She's not even American. How does she win Miss America?" Actually, one person even tweeted, "9/11 was 4 days ago. How does she win Miss America?" The United States, despite being a country built by immigrants, is incredibly biased in its perception of beauty. Throughout media, we see light-skinned girls with blonde hair and blue eyes making their way through billboards and front covers of magazines. Now, according to the Social Issues Research Center, the current media ideal thinness is achievable by less than 5% of the female population. Many children are suffering from mental image body distortions that make them see themselves differently. In fact, they become critical of their body weight, estimating themselves to be much larger than they really are. In fact, in one American survey, 81% of 10-year-olds had dieted at least once, which leads me to the implications. Now, I was born a second-generation immigrant, and like most second-generation immigrants, it felt obligatory to follow both the American standards of beauty as well as the Pakistani ones. When I would come home from school, I was constantly fed a diet of Pakistani dramas and TV shows that made me question my drastically low body weight as well as my skin color. As if that wasn't bad enough, I started reading Vogue magazines that made me question my body proportions as well as my skin color yet again. Soon, I started to feel disconnected not only from Pakistan, but from the United States as well. I, like many second-generation immigrants, was going through an identity crisis. Now, an identity crisis means the failure to achieve ego identity during adolescence. When many first-generation immigrants come to the United States, they bring a plethora of traditions and cultures and perceptions. And many first-generation parents wish to raise their kids with these perceptions and these cultures, yet they soon learn that although their child is Pakistani or Asian, they are also American. And being born in the United States brings a lot of social standards and expectations. The media of the United States is obsessed with impossibly skinny bodies and fair skin, and much of the media of Pakistan is obsessed with light skin and healthy bodies. The issue stems from the social identity between the two cultures. Now, in Pakistan, many Pakistanis are actually dark-skinned, and many Americans aren't white. Now, these two cultural standards of beauty make it even harder for second-generation immigrants to find a culture they associate themselves with. But this issue is the same with immigrants from different cultures as well. A Mauritanian woman would feel torn between the two cultural perceptions. Now, in Mauritania, obesity is regarded as beautiful, except in the United States, obesity is regarded as appalling, repulsive, unappealing, and thus this would lead that Mauritanian woman into an identity crisis. So let us discuss some possible solutions for this issue. First, we need to teach our children to love their body for being a body. It's okay if we don't identify ourselves or if we don't reach all the social expectations of both the cultures, as long as we respect the culture that we are from. Two, my mother always told me that we need to learn to respect every culture and that every culture is beautiful. She also told me that we need to pick and choose parts of cultures that we find beautiful and that we can personally relate to create a personal identity. And three, it is just as Maya Angelou had said, that we need to start teaching young people early on that in diversity, there's beauty and there's strength. Thank you.